I am back. Hey, hey. Come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in. Let's see what this looks like. Come on in, y'all. Ooh. Ooh. I don't know why that look. Y'all come on in. Hey, Cynthia. Hey, Dorothy. So listen. I'm going to chime in on, I guess some of these people are Turning Point, used to be part of Turning Point, but they finna break it down, who lied and why. And that guy who had a meltdown the other day, that was losing his mind, she's gonna make us lose midterms. Candace. Hey, Specs. Hey, Miss Tom. Yeah. Now, I'm finna hear this. I don't know if I believe it. I don't know who lying. Everybody in Turning Point lying. Everybody in the club getting tipsy. Yeah, all they do is lie. Instead of that song, all they do is win. Nah, all they do is lie. And they covering up. Yeah, it's finna get ugly. But let's check this out. He trying to say he was targeted. Now he been targeted. You know, Candace, she faced her fears. She had faith over fear. So she didn't fall for none of that. I mean, you know, she knows that there's a threat. Her husband is involved. That's good to know. So now here's somebody on Turning Point. Life done got threatened. Y'all believe that? I don't know. Let's listen. Breaking news. It came across like it was some breaking news. Let's hear this.
And I do want to take you out to some breaking news that we have been following here as we gather additional details. Take a look at this post here as an investigation is underway after someone apparently shot at the home of well-known conservative commentator Tim Poole. The podcast host has millions of followers all over social media on multiple platforms.
The same one that just had that meltdown.
Voice for some conservatives out there. Now
same cat that had that meltdown, mad at Candace, saying it's gonna be her fault that they lose the election. Oh, he got money on it? He said, I got 9.5 on it. Yeah, are they betting? Is this why they doing all this stealing? Everybody got to stay in place? I don't know. But he just had a major meltdown. Hey, Dorothy. And now, he done had a threat on his life. So he say, I don't believe him. I don't believe it. Gunman shot at home of conservative podcaster Tim Poole. Y'all believe that? Let's listen. It piggybacking.
Posted a short time ago this right here on his X page saying, quote, last night a vehicle approached our property and opened fire.
Did you shoot back?
As we gather additional details, take a look at this.
What keeps happening? Am I moving it? Let's go.
Following here as we gather additional details. Take a look at this post here as an investigation is underway after someone apparently shot at the home of well-known conservative commentator Tim Poole. The podcast host has millions of followers all over social media on multiple platforms and has become an influential voice for some conservatives out there. Now, he posted a short time ago this right here on his X page saying, quote, "Last night, a vehicle approached our property and opened fire. No one was hurt. Our security team is reviewing the incident and will be relaying the report to appropriate law enforcement. This is the price we pay for speaking out against evil." And no question,
hey, Mysterious. Thank you.
Republicans are putting out some information here to provide kind of their take on all of this. And I want to pop this up on your screen. This is coming in from Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. She replied to the comment and said, "This is terrifying. I'm glad everyone is okay. Everyone must stand together against this type of political violence and intimidation, no matter who it happens to, whether you like them or not." And we also have a post here coming in from General Mike Flynn, who did serve under the first Trump administration, saying, "This is the sort of madness that occurs
it sounds staged. I ain't gonna even lie.
The adversaries are seeking to create crises instead of stopping them from happening in the first place. Glad to hear no one is hurt. We need to figure out how to return to sanity quickly before worse domestic conditions are created by those who foment false flags and fake crises for the sole purpose of creating chaos." Now, he did tag several different people in that post, including President Trump and Secretary Kristi Noem with the Department of Homeland Security, as well as Secretary of Defense and War, Pete.
They're the ones that probably told him to do it.
All of
Fake
this
it.
here is coming months after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, who was another big right-wing political voice. The founder of Turning Point USA fatally shot as he spoke to a large university crowd over in Orem, Utah. That was back in September. As for this investigation here, it is still underway, so we are going to bring you any kind of updates, a news conference, or potentially any other remarks here on Live Now from Fox, as we always do.
That's it. I hate to say I ain't buying it. It's just too coincidental for me. After he just did that stunt. Yeah, and please don't come in telling me about this guy right here, saying that that Charlie had on a bathing suit. I mean, you know, a bodysuit. I chimed in on it a little bit. I'm just not ready to go that route, so I really don't want to fool with that. So I saw it. You don't have to tell me. I saw it. Let's hear this one. They know. Let's hear her. Let's go.
One of the things that Charlie Kirk was extremely vocal about, and I was happy he was vocal about it, was his just absolute fear that the U.S. was going to get dragged into a lengthy war with Iran. He did not want that to happen. In fact, he even went to the White House to have a private conversation with President Donald Trump to discourage him from
right, and he hollered at him.
War with Iran.
Told him get out.
That information because something really interesting has happened following the assassination of Charlie Kirk. It really does seem like
yes, sure it is.
His thoughts and his views on foreign policy have kind of been erased, and now they're kind of pushing forward with
an agenda that he didn't want.
It's reminiscent of neocons of
it's with what he was denouncing. They are moving forward with it and trying to act like that was his wishes. That's what's happening. I hope that's what you're about to say. Yeah, I hope that's what, hold on. Let's back it up. I hope that is the route, because that is what I'm seeing. They are full steam ahead with what he was denouncing. And they have taken over this man's business. And it looks like his wife is on board. But she was a Trump before she was a Kirk. I mean, she was affiliated with Trump. She was a plant. It's a lot of that going on. That McCoy, you know, because it's obvious that he is not into women. No, he is one. He one himself. And he crosses me as, it's just my opinion, he's been groomed. He's been touched and he's been groomed. Okay, bro, why you here? Oh man, you stupid. You waited 10 minutes to come in here to say that? I'm gonna be on it as long as I want to. Now what? I'm not gonna let the man rest. They shouldn't have killed him. His own partners and friends and president and pro-Israel. Yeah, he realized it was a cult. So no sir. No, sir. Will not. Yes, he did. We've heard him say it himself. He denounced him. So get your lying ass on up out of here. You continue to be a part of the cult. Yeah, and go straight to hell. Bye-bye. I'm not going to even try to save you because you're trying to tell me, no, he didn't. Yes, he did. Yeah. And if you don't get your life right with Christ, you're going to hell. Okay? Okay? So like I was saying, Lord, really? Is that what we finna be in for? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Belt to it's too early. What in the world? Yeah, he out here. 10 minutes in? Are you kidding me? No, we're not gonna do this. That man denounced him because they was harassing him. Yeah, and taking back donations. They found out the hard way. The dreams don't always come true. And there was a motive. Yeah, there was a motive. They wanted to dangle carrots and dictate who you interact with. They had plans for your business. And when you deviated from their plans with your business, they took you out. Yeah. Yeah. The nerve. Do I want to waste my time to see if he have a picture of he'll troll. Him. Yeah, he one of them. I said, oh boy don't like women, and hell, he went berserk. He popped out, what are you all talking about, Kirk? Let him rest. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. He turning over in the wall, in the ground, or wherever island he at, wherever he at, where he at. Yeah, wherever he at. Whether y'all got him locked up, won't let him out. They, you know, too much strange things. CIA, hell, France. Oh yeah, it's just way too much. Way too much. But let's listen. Let's listen. All I know is that I ain't see no blood on all them folk hands. You pushed the sassy button. I brought the girl out in here. Brought them out. Where they at? Shit. Wasn't even till damn near, wasn't 10 minutes in. Just over 10 minutes.
One of the things that Charlie Kirk was extremely vocal about, and I was happy he was vocal about it, was his just absolute fear that the U.S. was going to get dragged into a lengthy war with Iran. He did not want that to happen. In fact, he even went to the White House to have a private conversation with President Donald Trump to discourage him from engaging in a war with Iran.
Yep.
Now, I give you that information because something really interesting has happened following the assassination of Charlie Kirk. It really does seem like his thoughts and his views on foreign policy have kind of been erased, and now they're kind of pushing forward with the type of framing that is reminiscent of the neocons of the early aughts. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about here is Turning Point USA reporter Monica Page speaking to a spokesperson. This is a press conference for the Department of War.
And there are reports that Iran's been planning on rebuilding its nuclear facilities. Iranian's president has said that it plans to rebuild its nuclear facilities with, quote, greater strength. Can you provide us on any sort of update on where that currently stands?
I can tell you that Operation Midnight Hammer was an absolute resounding success. Iran's nuclear capabilities were totally obliterated, and experts estimated that, it would take 2 years for them to recover. So thanks to President Trump's bold and swift action, we were able to dismantle that threat to the American people. And I think it was also a historic operation by virtue of the fact that there was a clear end state. We have seen this department get marred down in the Middle East in endless wars and nation building. That has stopped under this president and this secretary. We now have a clear end state, a clear mission set, and Operation Midnight Hammer was a success in dismantling that.
I will take my wins where I can get them. Now, if I like the answer from the Department of War spokesperson there, okay? I mean, obviously, the Trump administration is engaging in a regime change, potentially a regime change war in Venezuela. But all of the messaging I've seen from the Trump administration following the 12-day war in Iran has indicated to me that, at least for now, Trump is not persuaded in wanting to go back in. And that's a good thing. But for the purposes of this conversation, I want to focus on the framing of the question that we just heard from Monica Page, because clearly it was framed in a way to drum up support for military intervention in Iran, which we absolutely should not do. So this conversation was posted on X by Frontline's TPUSA. That's the account that posted it. It says Iran's nuclear resumption almost 6 months after Operation Midnight Hammer. The Iranian president vowed to rebuild its nuclear facilities with greater strength. Our Monica Page asks Department of War for an update on its nuclear capabilities so far. Now, I think that the reactions and the mentions to that post are, for the most part, pretty fantastic. Remember, these are conservatives. And these are the conservatives who don't want forever wars. They don't want to get dragged into a war in Iran. Jamie Duff writes, with Charlie out of the way, TPUSA is now openly lobbying the Pentagon to bomb Iran. Incredible stuff. Another person who goes by Rick says, so TPUSA has changed their position on Iran. Charlie was one of the biggest voices against us being dragged into that war. And there were countless other comments that you can read for yourselves. But it does highlight the divide within the, conservative political groups in this country. Younger conservatives certainly have been more savvy when it comes to U.S. foreign policy and how detrimental it's actually been to our soldiers and to America. And so they're pushing back. Older conservatives tend to be more in the neocon camp, which is pretty devastating. But luckily, I think their influence seems to be waning a little bit. Now, here's what we should really be concerned about, because it turns out that in reality, Israel is planning to attack Iran again. And it's likely that Trump knows about it and is kind of keeping quiet about it, because there might be an agreement that any war effort would take place after the midterms. Now, this is speculation on my part. I want to be clear about that. But it's not ill-informed speculation. And here's what I mean. So all you have to do is kind of pay attention to the Israeli media.
Please get the likes up.
Israeli media. It's fantastic. It makes you way more informed about what's happening and what's going to happen, as opposed to just simply relying on American media, which is very much in the pro-Israel, pro-war camp. And so let's take a look at something that was published on I-24 News, their YouTube channel. They came out with this banger. It's titled, Israel Prepares New Weapons for Next War with Iran. Amazing. So let's watch a little bit of how that conversation went down.
Do you think President Trump would be on board with another round of fighting? He has repeatedly held his hand out to Tehran, hasn't he, offering a potential new nuclear deal?
I think if Israel really present with solid intelligence that, look, they're rebuilding, for example, their missile program, and this is going to make Iran even more intransigent and more hard-headed at the talks, and it's going to actually give them the confidence not to return to the nuclear table, and they could also use it to attack US and Israeli targets. So we have to take a decision. We have to make a decision. Then he may find it difficult to refuse, and he may find it difficult to turn down such a decision, and he may go to war.
I think what was said there was very interesting, right? So they're planning on framing this to Trump in a way that makes him think, look, you want to have negotiations with Iran.
This is cocoa Culver style.
Why are they depending on Trump?
Blended with rich cocoa, topped with whipped cream for a little.
Like this is
But
his.
maybe it makes more sense to preemptively strike Iran, because it looks like, they're building up their arsenal here, their missiles. What, Iran's not allowed to have missiles? Are you insane? Like, what's wrong with Iran having missiles? And that's the thing, like, they keep moving the goalposts. Oh, we're worried about their nuclear weapons and how much Iran's nuclear weapons would pose a threat to Israel, a nuclear power that's not, part of the non-proliferation treaty, that won't acknowledge their nuclear weapons, even though when Kissinger got upset with Israel and threatened some of the U.S. military aid that goes to Israel, the response to him was to threaten nuclear war. That's according to Jonathan Pollard, by the way.
Didn't Trump have them
CIA
testing weapons not too long ago?
Is now a convicted traitor to the United States because he was selling our secrets to Israel. It's according to him. And he said just a few months ago, maybe we need to threaten the use of our nuclear weapons more. He's a terrible person. Absolutely terrible. But anyway, now you have Israel kind of fear-mongering about how Iran is going to have these missiles, and since they're going to have these missiles, the peace talks are going to be more difficult. Iran's going to be more belligerent. So maybe you want to do preemptive strikes on Iran. That's what they're going to try to sell to Trump. I mean, that was just abundantly clear from the tactics that were just described in the video you watched. But look, if you want to say to me, that's just one video, one outlet. That doesn't mean that Israel's actually planning to go to war with Iran again. Oh, you'd be mistaken. So on November 11th, the Times of Israel reported, senior official says Israel aims to topple Iranian regime by the end of Trump's term.
Just smart.
Tehran said revamping advanced missile systems, and other officials, as another official says, Jewish state will respond much more aggressively in future confrontations than in the past. Okay, so Israel can't fight Iran by itself. So the U.S. would get dragged into it because Iran is not some little rinky-dink country that has no military capabilities. It would be a devastating war, even with the United States involved. But Israel is so thirsty for it. It's crazy. So Trita Parsi has been warning about this for months. In fact, he wrote a piece that was featured in Foreign Policy magazine back in August titled, "The Next Israel-Iran War is Coming. Both countries' strategic calculus suggests it will be even more violent." Oh, goody. We've got something to look forward to. He writes that Israel's June war, that's the 12-day war, was never solely about Iran's nuclear program. Rather, it was about shifting the balance of power in the Middle East, with Iranian nuclear capabilities being an important but not decisive factor. For more than 2 decades, Israel has pushed the United States to take military action against Iran to weaken it and restore a favorable regional balance, one that Israel cannot achieve on its own.
I've talked about Patriot Mobile's commitment to faith family.
This is the
faith family
whole plan that was drafted by the neocons under the Bush administration. It was the memo that the neocons then sent to Benjamin Netanyahu that indicated that the U.S. would essentially engage in all these regime change wars in the Middle East in order to install various leaders that would be far more deferential to Israel, and it would shift the balance of power in Israel's favor. And that has already happened in multiple countries. It's certainly happened in Syria, where we now have an al-Qaeda terrorist leading the country. Syria is already being balkanized. You know, when you think about the fact that Turkey has annexed part of Syria, Israel has already annexed parts of Syria. So, you know, Libya was very much part of this plan as well. And then you look at reporting from the Jerusalem Center for Security and Foreign Affairs. This piece was from July. Here's what they wrote. IDF Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir, stated on July 20th that the latest confrontation with Iran was merely one phase in a prolonged campaign. According to him, we are now entering a new chapter based on the achievements of the operation. We disrupted Iran's nuclear and missile programs, and we must remain vigilant. And then you have Defense Minister Israel Katz, who's also featured in this piece. He echoed Zamir's remarks, warning on July 22nd that there is a high likelihood of renewed fighting. They say it out loud. But I'm sure people like me and Dave Smith and all the people who warn about stuff like this are going to be told, oh, you guys were wrong. We didn't get dragged into a lengthy war with Iran, as if this is all over. No, it's not over. It's not over. Finally, during a strategic assessment with senior IDF officials, a decision was made to formulate a strategic plan to prevent Iran from restarting its nuclear program. As part of this, Israel will accelerate production of Arrow missiles and increase the readiness of its air defense systems, including Iron Dome and David Sling, stuff that we are going to pay for as American citizens. Because God forbid Israel ever pays for any of their wars or any of their weapons or defense capabilities. Now, Parsi argues that Israel's 12-day war in June had three objectives, right? So to draw the United States into a direct military conflict with Iran, which happened. Luckily, it wasn't prolonged or anything like that, but we could get dragged into something much more serious, much longer than a 12-day war. The other two objectives were to decapitate the Iranian regime. They failed at that. And to turn the country into the next Syria or Lebanon. And they failed at that. So Iran will be more difficult to destabilize compared to Syria.
The 1948 Israel.
Syria, it did.
Mark, you talking about the 1948 Israel? The lab created Israel, not God created. So you're a Zionist, you're a devil worshiper. Mark, you're a devil worshiper. You sacrifice kids. Yeah, are you a PDF filer? I mean, because you know that Israel is man-made. They don't have nothing to do with God. And so I don't know what you're saying God bless Israel for, because that 1948 Israel don't have nothing to do with God. That has everything to do with worshiping the devil. So what are you talking about, Mark? Are you a Zionist disguising yourself as a Christian? Or what God are you talking about? Amen. Yeah, let's see where you at, Mark RAAF1. Come on now, hurry up. Are you that 1948 Rothschild lab? I mean, because we know Bibi Netanyahu, he ain't even a Jew. Hell, you ain't no. Are you black? Are you black? Or, you know what is your what color of the what 50 shades of brown are you, Mark? How about let me put it that way? Are you on the biblical color scales? Are you on the bronze end? Are you way down there where it's turning light, like real bright, like pink, like her white chocolate? Yeah, because we know the real Israel, Jacob. We are Israel. So I don't know what you're talking about. Express yourself or get out. Where you at? Because we know that Bibi Netanyahu, that pro-Israel, that 1948 Israel, we know they Zionists and they devil worshippers. They play with men, they play with each other, they go to that place, secret place, once or twice a year, do manly things like it's like they there on a couple, and then they, you know, they traffic kids, and then they, you know, serve them up for the big old aisle thing. What are you? Come on now, hurry up. Okay, you don't want to talk. Yeah, you not of God. You of that devil. Oh, you didn't think I knew. Oh, he didn't think I knew. He didn't think I knew, huh? Hi, Glenn. Now, we're as we were. Yeah, as we were.
Iron Dome and David Sling, stuff that we are going to pay for as American citizens. Because God forbid Israel ever pays for any of their wars or any of their weapons or defense capabilities. Now, Parsi argues that Israel's 12-day war in June had 3 objectives, right? So to draw the United States into a direct military conflict with Iran, which happened. Luckily, it wasn't prolonged or anything like that, but we could get dragged into something much more serious, much longer than a 12-day war. The other 2 objectives were to decapitate the Iranian regime. They failed at that. And to turn the country into the next Syria or Lebanon. And they failed at that. So Iran will be more difficult to destabilize compared to Syria. Because, you know, in the case of Syria, it did start out with an organic uprising that was then co-opted by proxies like Turkey, Israel, the United States, Russia. But contrary to Israel's expectations, the killing of senior commanders from the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps did not lead to mass protests or to uprising against the Islamic Republic. Instead, Iranians of all political stripes rallied around the flag, if not the regime itself, as a wave of nationalism surged across the country. You know, one of the arguments that the Israelis use to drum up support for an invasion in Iran is that, oh, but the people of Iran want regime change so badly. They want it so badly. They don't like the Ayatollah, which, by the way, there are indications that's true. But they don't want Israel to come in, destroy their country, bomb the crap out of it, and then install a puppet government that puts Israel first. So we'll see how this plays out, but I believe the reporting, and I believe the Israelis. When they tell us what they plan to do, we should believe them because they always end up doing it with the help of our government and our tax dollars.
Our money. Hold on. Now, for the people who have forgot, I mean, I know Candace has stirred the pot, baby. She has stirred the pot. She has... She has, baby, she done made the devil look crazy. She done made Turning Point USA look crazy. She's just, ooh-wee. Hold on. So for the ones who have forgotten, who has forgotten, the truth of where Charlie Kirk was at right before his assassination, his inside job.
Exaggeration.
Let's just have a slight reminder, because people think it's been a couple of months and we should have forgotten by now. And like we don't remember what he said. Yeah.
But the fact is now Bibi and the Israeli hard right government has a mandate. I gotta be careful the way I say this. They're gonna try to ethnically cleanse Gaza. Yep. I mean that's and I don't use that term lightly. Okay.
A few weeks before the tragedy yesterday.
This liar right here.
I called him and I spoke to him and I said, please come to Israel. I invited him to Israel.
And he said no.
And sadly, that visit will not take place. But he was He was a defender of our common Judeo-Christian civilization. He was unbelievably excited to walk in the footsteps of Jesus here.
I don't think it, I know it. He was going through a lot, and there was a lot of pressure. And it's hard for me to watch the people who were pressuring him, I don't know, just say the things that they're saying. You know, there's something about it that just feels really fake to me. And they would have allowed him to lose and wanted him to lose everything for changing or even slightly modifying an opinion. And then to see them doing what they're doing today, it's hurtful to me. It's very hurtful to me.
One thing about Candace Owens is she doesn't just believe anything she sees. She does her research, digs deep and finds the truth for herself, even if it comes with risk. She never gives up. Some might think that once Charlie Kirk's killer was found, the story ended there, but there could be more behind it. What was the real motive? Considering everything Charlie was going through, as Candace Owens pointed out, there's a strong possibility someone was pulling strings behind the scenes. But for now, I want you to just listen to this clip of Charlie Kirk talking about Bibi Netanyahu and Israel on the Patrick Bet podcast. Take a listen.
So I've been to Israel many times. The whole country's a fortress. When I first heard this story, I still have the same gut instinct.
Not gonna sue you. Okay.
I find it very hard to believe. I've been to that Gaza border.
BB not gonna
go
sue
10
you
feet without running into a 19-year-old with an AR-15 or an automatic machine gun that's an IDF soldier. Right? The whole country is surveilled. And so let me just kind of go through this. We don't talk about Israeli politics very often, and most Americans don't know this. The last 9 months, Israel was on the brink of civil war. It's not an exaggeration. This judicial stuff, there were hundreds of thousands of Israelis taking to the streets because Bibi Netanyahu was basically redefining the Israeli constitution. That's not an exaggeration, right? He said the judicial branch has too much power. There were protests planned this week against Netanyahu, where they anticipated tens of thousands of people to take to the streets. That's all gone, Patrick. Netanyahu now has an emergency government and a mandate to lead. I'm not willing to go so far that saying that Netanyahu knew or there was intelligence here, but I think some questions need to be asked. Was there a stand down order? Was there a stand down order? 6 hours? I don't believe it. Israel's the size of New Jersey. When I took a helicopter ride from Jerusalem to the Gaza border, it's 45 minutes. Wow. 6 hours. They're live streaming the killing of Jews. Did somebody in the government say stand down? That is a legitimate, non-conspiracy question. The whole country is the IDF. The whole country is. Yeah. And you're trying to tell me that they're going to concerts and kibbutzes and schools and by reports 6 hours. Let's say it's 3 hours. And by the way, I'm actually very pro-Israel. So let me be so I'm not exactly.
Well, I think we all are.
No, I just want to make sure my position is clear here. But Patrick, there are other explanations. It's possible that the Netanyahu government was double-crossed by bad agents. Okay? That's dark, but it's not as dark as what we're talking about. Okay? Another aspect is that Netanyahu might have traitors in his government, like legitimate traitors that have infiltrated. I was texting with some senior people in the IDF, and they said, Charlie, can't say too much, but let's just say the same problem you have with the left in America we have here in Israel. So there's something to think about. Just something to think about, right? Is that maybe there's some people within those intel agencies that aren't as sympathetic. Or maybe, Patrick, maybe they might have gotten a tip, they might have gotten whispers, but no one thought it would be 1,200 Jews dead. That's a potential, right? Because here's the essence of it. The essence is this. This is the closest thing to the Holocaust that any of us have lived through. But the fact is now Bibi and the Israeli hard right government has a mandate. I gotta be careful the way I say this. They're gonna try to ethnically cleanse Gaza. Yep. I mean, I don't use that term lightly, okay? They're talking about basically removing 2.5 million people from there, okay? And honestly, they have a mandate to go seek justice and revenge. They do. This idea that they need to have a truce or a peace treaty, that's morally crap after you see women and children be burned alive and dragged to the streets. But there are some serious questions here, Patrick. And let me tell you, my pattern recognition over the last 5 years has become pretty sharp. COVID, Maui fires, Epstein. When I see a story and it doesn't click, our guts are usually right.
After listening to this video, It's clear that Charlie Kirk was questioning some of the decisions and actions of Bibi Netanyahu and the Israeli government. He repeatedly emphasized that he is pro-Israel, but that does not mean he blindly supported every move of the government. He raised serious questions about intelligence failures, possible stand-down orders, and the presence of potential traitors or bad actors within Israel's own agencies. You can hear that he was thinking critically and independently, weighing what he saw on the ground against official narratives. This is where Candace Owens' point becomes very real. She mentioned the immense pressure Charlie was under, and this clip shows exactly why. Some of the same people who had supported or sponsored his movement in the past were likely uncomfortable with him questioning the government and may have threatened to withdraw support if he continued speaking out. That's a very real dynamic for public figures. Speaking the truth, even carefully and respectfully, can come with enormous risks when powerful interests feel challenged. Charlie was in a difficult position, trying to navigate his support for Israel while also confronting troubling realities that he couldn't ignore. He was asking questions, pointing out contradictions, and highlighting moral concerns. That's courage, and it also explains why Candace Owens was right to draw attention to the pressures he was under. This clip isn't just a conversation about politics. It's a glimpse into the complex forces surrounding someone willing to think and speak independently, even when it could cost them everything.
Let me see. Before I go, there was another one, but let me see this one. Oh, that was it right there. Dang. Hold on. Just in case, you know. Oh, no, he wasn't.
I think the same people that were pressuring Charlie are pressuring them. In fact, I know that for a fact. So they might need my help.
Okay, that seems like an abrupt start, but if you're wondering who she's talking about the Turning Point USA executives.
I'm going to state this, and I'm going to challenge Turning Point USA executives to issue a very clean statement saying that I am lying if this is not true. About 48 hours before Charlie Kirk died, Charlie informed people at Turning Point, as well as Jewish donors and a rabbi, that he had no choice but to abandon the pro-Israel cause outright, okay? Charlie was done. He said it explicitly, that he refused to be bullied anymore by the Jewish donors. Can you guys answer? Did he express that?
I don't think Candace is lying. And Andrew Colvett, who was the executive producer of Turning Point, said something very interesting regarding Charlie's relationship with Israel towards the end of his life. Listen to this.
Charlie's views on Israel were nuanced. There's no doubt about it. He was frustrated. He was really frustrated that he wasn't allowed to criticize Israel without being labeled an anti-Semite.
The behavior by a lot, both privately and publicly, are pushing people like you and me away. Not like we're going to be pro-Hamas, not like we're going to, but we're like, honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megan, calling me an anti-Semite. I am learning biblical Hebrew and writing a book on the Shabbat. I honor the Shabbat, literally the Jewish Sabbath. I visit Israel and fight for it. And there's another article out in the Times of Israel today. I could read it on air. I was just reading before I got on. Charlie, what are you doing? Like, why are you... What am I doing? I'm sorry. Like, let's just take a step back here. Like, I'm an American citizen. Yes, I want Israel to win. Yes, I'm a Christian. But, like, some of the mess, and you've seen how I've been treated, Megan, by some, not all, by some.
No, it's very irritating.
It's
been so unfair. They were coming after you after Turning Point for, among other things, that you had Dave Smith there. Dave Smith is allowed to criticize Israel. You had both sides. The Israeli side was overrepresented.
No, you're not allowed to. It's worse than that. Again, I just want to repeat for the 5th time. I love Israel. I want Israel to win. But my moral character is now being put into question.
There we go.
Not my decisions. Not like, hey, are you doing this? Is it smart or is it dumb? But no, I am a bad person if I do this.
So Candace was right after all, and Charlie proved it prior to his death when he spoke about it publicly. It's just disappointing to see the Turning Point USA executives going back against what Charlie was more or less fighting for.
Absolutely.
Rather, going back against what Charlie was standing up against. Remember, towards the end of his life, he said, listen, I don't think I want to do this anymore. But the Turning Point executives seem somewhat to be backtracking on that decision, and that's slightly disappointing. If you watch the entire video of
just for the ones who just forgetting, you know, everything that done went down and how it went down with Charlie. But let me get back to what I had already cooking. I ain't finna entertain these people that's coming in. Where is it at? Where the breakdown at? Where the... Y'all please double tap the face of the screen so we can get the likes up. Please go. Oh yeah, them gun shots. I don't believe him. I don't believe him. They so doing? Yeah, I don't know if I want to hear her fact checking. Yeah, no. Not on this one. Hold on, let me get to it. Let's break down the facts to see who telling the truth and who lying.
Show you her response. Now you say Charlie considered her a friend? It's one by one, transcript by transcript, because I wanted to see.
Is this the one? I thought it was a guy. Let me start this one so I can find the other one. Let's go.
If what TPUSA accused her of is true or false. And by the end of this video, we will have a very clear picture for it. Just to be clear, for example, when they said Candace accused us of XYZ, I checked what she actually did or say, and it gets interesting. So stay with me till the end. It's going to be a longer video, but it is worth it, I promise. A lot will be revealed. So let's discuss TPUSA's video response to Candace. Actually, not a response, a challenge video, because they did challenge her to appear live on their show and discuss her claims, which she immediately accepted. She was very excited for this opportunity. Any place, any time, she said. And I guess they took it literally by posting this. At 4 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. local time on Monday, December 15, a collection of Charlie's friends will respond to statements made by real Candace Owens to set the record straight once and for all.
Yeah, she said she has security.
We'll be live streaming from Charlie's Phoenix studio. Our offer from
her husband has it set up.
If Candace wishes to join us in person in Phoenix, she is welcome to do so. She can let us know by the end of the day. By the end of the day, she responded. Kind of weird how you didn't email or call me to ask about times or availability and chose to instead tweet this confirmation out at midnight. Why am I learning about this on X? December 15 does not work in person, and 2 p.m. PT is also literal time I do my podcast live every day, which you knew. But we will happily cancel the daily podcast and will join you guys virtually instead for the live stream on the 15th. If that works on your end, let's lock it in. They didn't lock it in. And said that since she refuses to appear in person, they will proceed without her. I don't know how this is going to end, but Candace now says that she will simply go live at the same time and provide live commentary, which is a shame, because it would be great for her to be able to question them, actually. I assume they can't handle it. They can't take the heat that they have things to hide. They literally gave themselves 10 days to do this. They will be preparing for 10 days to come out with explanations to Candace's allegations. Why not now? Why not today? Why not tomorrow? Immediately. And I know a lot of people caught her saying on her podcast, oh, anytime. This is a saying, okay? Like, right here, right now, let's do this. That doesn't mean like, you know, it's a saying. It's a saying. I'm ready, basically. Anyway, let's dissect the list of the allegations they brought up and see if they have any basis in truth.
Ever since Charlie's murder, Candace Owens has leveled a flood of allegations against people at Turning Point USA, people at Turning Point Action, and people who work for this show. She has made them against some of Charlie's closest friends and against some of his most dedicated employees.
Yes.
She has suggested that Michael McCoy, Charlie's chief of staff, knew Charlie would be murdered, was happy that he died, and stayed silent because he was told he would be the next Charlie. She has suggested Michael is not his real name. It is. I have seen his birth certificate myself. She has called it suspicious that Mikey's wife, who works at Turning Point, helped plan the campus tour event where Charlie was murdered, which she didn't, by the way. She doesn't work on campus events.
Okay, so first and foremost, I actually never said that she helped plan the event. I said it was suspicious that Mikey McCoy's wife, that we never found out who did plan the event, that was one of the answers that we wanted to know. I said that she works in events, still was not clear on what happened regarding Mikey McCoy. I think the entire world believes that his actions are suspicious because we have eyes, and you don't get to wiggle out of that by pretending that us playing the words of his own father, Rob McCoy, who I think is highly suspicious in all of this. He has a suspicious background. We played his own words as he tried to sanitize someone who spent time in prison for being a sexual deviant, right? For trying to take photos of young girls. I don't think he's a good guy, and you're not going to make us forget those things because you are trying to pretend that Mikey's actions were totally normal that day. They weren't. That's why I didn't make the public feel that way.
Okay, so I'll address the Mikey McCoy thing first. Candace never said that Mikey, by the way, I feel so stupid every time I say his name. Why does everyone call him Mikey?
Ask for Mikey, just Mikey. You ask for Mikey because there is no Mikey.
Is it because Charlie was Charlie, not Charles? So Mikey's Mikey, not Michael? Anyway, she never said that he knew beforehand about Charlie's assassination. She did cast a doubt around how weirdly lifted and promoted he was after the 9/10. Take a look.
What are your thoughts on how Erika Kirk has been dealing with this and some of the people that are close to him, his manager, Mike and all them? Like, do you think they're just playing a role? Do you think they're involved? What are your thoughts on them in general? That's some of the people in his closest circle.
It is obvious to me that Mikey McCoy...
Y'all, please double tap. Get the likes up, please.
It was the person that they wanted to launch as the just forget those things because you are trying to pretend that Mikey's actions were totally normal that day. They weren't. That's why I didn't make the public feel that way.
Okay, so I'll address the Mikey McCoy thing first. Candace never said that Mikey, by the way, I feel so stupid every time I say his name. Why does everyone call him Mikey?
Ask for Mikey, just Mikey. You ask for Mikey because there is no Mikey.
Is it because Charlie was Charlie, not Charles? So Mikey's Mikey, not Michael? Anyway, she never said that he knew beforehand about Charlie's assassination. She did cast a doubt around how weirdly lifted and promoted he was after the 9/10. Take a look.
What are your thoughts on how Erika Kirk has been dealing with this and some of the people that are close to him, his manager, Mike and all them? Like, do you think they're just playing a role? Do you think they're involved? What are your thoughts on them in general? That's some of the people in his closest circle.
It is obvious to me that Mikey McCoy was the person that they wanted to launch as the new Charlie. That's very obvious. The way they brought his YouTube channel back with a speech from Mikey, and everyone was kind of trying to soft sell Mikey to us and was like, who's this kid? You're 23. Why are you the chief of staff of anything? You didn't go to college. Who are you, actually? And you're brought in by Rob, your dad, who is dirty. I mean, very dirty guy. I covered more of that yesterday. He just gives me the sleaze and the ick. It just is very strange that I felt like they tried to manipulate us into accepting this, almost like they had, like, Mikey's going to be this person. Then we see Mikey, he's a hero, and he just walks away right after somebody. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, they did try to paint him as a hero. The amazing Mikey McCoy.
Chief of Staff, the amazing Mikey McCoy.
And that's when the great Mikey McCoy showed up.
Did we watch this yesterday?
Mikey do heroic things that day. I saw Mikey do heroic things.
Oh, is this from me watching it earlier?
And then the video of him came out, showing just how quickly, before Charlie even hit the ground, Mikey walked away from the scene. He strolled away. And how far he got with his hands on the phone to his ears. We still are not sure what happened there. And I'll not elaborate further, I addressed it in my previous videos. Today we are just going through the claims made by TPUSA and playing true or false. Candace did claim that Mikey or Michael is actually his middle name, not first name. Take a look.
We randomly received a tip from somebody who knew Pastor Rob McCoy from Thousand Oaks, California, and they were speaking about just kind of the area and how tight-knit it is in the church. And they said, one of the things that's really weird is some of us have been speaking and we had never heard of a Mikey McCoy, like his son Mikey McCoy. So I followed that tip pretty lightly. This is by no means like a deep search, but somebody on the inside of Turning Point told me that Mikey, or Michael rather, is not his first name. It's a middle name. I just want to know what his real name is because I am not letting go of this like Mikey investigation.
I did not find any evidence of Candace claiming that Mikey McCoy's wife planned Charlie's event on 10th of September. We do know she's the administrative events director at Turning Point USA. I don't know when she took this role, but the earliest publications that talk about her in that role are from 17th of September 2025 in Vanity Fair. And Candace, in the episode 245 of her podcast, questioned the organization of the event itself, claiming there were too many weird things about it. She explains them for the whole hour, so I'm going to summarize it for you. 1. Unusual scheduling. She questions why 2 Utah events were scheduled 20 days apart. Why this divided from Turning Point's standard tour logic? Why on earth would he schedule these events apart? It's not how Turning Point USA normally decides on their events. That's what she said. 2. Security changes before the event. She questioned why the bulletproof vest supplier was suddenly dropped, why a new vest provider was used, why Charlie wasn't wearing a vest at all that day. This again implies process irregularity, not a named planner. Then 3, hospital and emergency response. Why he was sent to a non-trauma hospital. Why there may have been no ambulance on standby. Again, systems and protocols, not an organizer. New hires and leadership changes, that's number 4. New hospital CEO, new Utah FBI leadership, new AV protocols, new camera positioning, new backstage behavior, new security flow. This builds her too many things were brand new theory, but still no organizer named. She never named Elizabeth. Let's roll the next clip, and I know this video is a bit longer than my usual content, but there was so many claims to check, it had to be this way. I promise it is worth to stay till the end. Again, okay? Stay with me. Okay, let's go.
Candace has suggested the Utah Valley University event was unusual, and its details suggested a, quote, inside job.
It was unusual. That's a fact, and you can quote me on that because I worked for Turning Point USA and I went on every tour since 2019, and typically those events are decided at least the semester before. This came together very quickly. It is unusual, and I don't know why you think that you are going to be able to disprove that notion when I have the emails to support that claim. Let's keep it rolling.
Well, yeah, there is also the latest viral tweet from Candace. She says, I received information last night that put the final pieces together for me. I now can say with full confidence that I believe Charlie Kirk was betrayed by the leadership of Turning Point USA and some of the very people who utilized him on stage. Yes, I will be naming names and providing evidence for my claims, and I am making a personal plea to every well-meaning person who donated to this godforsaken organization to request a refund. You were lied to, and leadership knew. Yes, so there is not much left to the imagination. On her podcast episode, she revealed that she discovered that right after Charlie's death, a French investor came up to TP USA with life-changing money. An investor connected to the Dupont family, which also can be traced back to Delaware, the French family. It's a whole web of connections that she talked about that led to the conclusion that French, allegedly, had something to do with Charlie's assassination. And this investor is like a key connection between Candace's theory and TPUSA. I want to remind you that she told us the story that Andrew Colvette, a few days after Charlie was assassinated, told Candace, it was supposed to be you. How do you interpret it? He also told her she and Tucker were on a list. There are just so many weird things about those guys. Nothing sticks and everything seems off. But just my opinion.
She has claimed that foreign aircraft have followed Erika Kirk around the country and that Turning Point has lied about this happening.
Definitely never said Turning Point lied because you never responded. So that doesn't actually make any sense. And this is why it's not good to have lawyers write things out, because sometimes they're not so detail oriented. What we did was we showed at first that when I plotted these strange Egyptian jets that they were following Charlie. And that was a concern because I wondered if they were tracking Charlie. We then obviously realized that they were tracking TPUSA faith events and that many more times they were following and perhaps tracking Erika. You should be concerned about that.
Yeah.
You find it odd that rather than being concerned or trying to get answers to why a foreign military jet would be on the ground during a time when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, you're upset with us for asking questions about these jets.
Okay, so she says she never called them liars. Candace did call them liars in this case. In the episode of her podcast 266, Operation Mocking Plane. In this episode, she shared with us and showed flight logs of Egyptian planes that happened to be in the same place at the same time or around the same time as Erika Kirk. She discovered 73 overlapping events like this. 29 of those instances included Charlie as well. And then she says,
we can add this to our list of verifiable Turning Point USA lies because I'm going to count this as a lie by severe omission. By keeping your mouth shut and allowing Candace to take all the figurative bullets as she points out the oddity of a plane that you guys recognized, okay? My point is that these planes were known to Turning Point USA, and we all deserve to know why they were on the ground on that day, what they were doing on the ground on that day, and also why Turning Point chose to stay mum when every influencer under the sun and every publication attacked me for even mentioning the planes, making it seem like I was dumb, I was stupid.
So yeah, she says they lied. However, it is very weird for them not to get worried about suspicion of some planes following their CEO around, their current CEO. 73 times they landed where Erika was with TPUSA event. Again, it looks shady. And it seems that they took a trick from Brigitte Macron's playbook when she files defamation suit for cyberbullying but never says accusations of her being a man are untrue. TPUSA didn't say Candace was wrong. They got upset because she called them liars. I don't know. Seems concerning. However, she did call them liars, so...
What kind of gift can $29 get you these days? It could send someone overseas. Drop them in their ancestral village and give them a taste of their heritage. From mom's side and dad's side. It can open a whole new world of faraway places and fascinating people that make them who they are today.
We give them that.
She has accused us of lying about Charlie wanting Erika to take over for him if he died.
Never happened.
It's a dumb lie on their part. Or like overshooting. Not even overshooting. It never even came close to that. Yeah, it is a lie. It's made up. What I remember Candace saying is that she hopes Erika has some good people in her corner because running TPUSA won't be easy. And Candace herself would never want to do it. I think I have a clip of that.
I do also want to address people who are inundating me speaking about Erika Kirk, and I think the reason why this was catalyzed was because of a fundraising email and text messages went out and people found it to be distasteful and like fundraising off of his death. Okay, first and foremost, the reason why I said, and I meant it genuinely, was to pray for Erika a couple of days ago, and I said she is stepping into a role as CEO and the chairman of a company that got bigger than Charlie by everything that I am understanding, and just having been there, I saw it happening, and a company that she's going to have to learn in 4 seconds how things were. It is a machine. Those emails that you saw that was not written by Erika Kirk. That will be an entire department, and these are emails when you fundraise. I had fundraising emails go out with my face and my name on them. They are not authored by Erika Kirk, and I want you guys to know that, right? I just think it's like, I don't know, it just feels so unfair to me to assign the amount of pressure that is on her right now. She has not come out and said anything to me that makes her suspicious because I understand how that organ works.
And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, we know who watches Candace, who doesn't. And people who accuse her of speaking ill about Erika Kirk, they have never seen an episode of Candace's podcast because she has never said anything bad about Erika. She actually praises her. She respects her a lot. She knows that Charlie loved her a lot. Like, all that. Not to say that her fans actually requested for Candace to investigate Erika, to say something, to address it. And she never did. She refuses. For now, not only time, and that was last time on her podcast, that's the only time when she spoke about TPUSA and them being shady, she came out and asked Erika to address it, to just give a statement. And people keep using it as an excuse that she's grieving widow and we should leave her alone and we should give her time and so on. It's been 3 months, and I'm not saying there is a deadline to grief, okay? I'm not saying, but we all have jobs. When you're at work, you're getting a few days off, and then you need to get back to work, and you need to kind of, get your shit together and function normally as a human during the day, even if you're grieving. So if she agreed to take a role of CEO of this massive company, yes, there are responsibilities involved. And some of those responsibilities is addressing situations like this. It's a huge thing. Was your husband? Yes. But first of all, in this type of situation, in business setting, he used to be a CEO before you. So if someone, you believe that someone is slandering the legacy of your business now and of the previous CEO, yes, you should make a statement. Just say.
She has suggested Charlie's security team intentionally denied him first aid after the shooting to ensure that he died.
When you say suggested, it means that they are interpreting my words. What I said is another fact. They did not issue him first aid. When he fell down, there was nobody who pulled out any gauze and tried to stop the bleeding, and they've admitted to that. In a sit-down with Sean Ryan, Brian Harpole said it was because of the severity of the injury. I'm sorry, again, that we noticed something that stood out as unusual.
My opinion, before we even get into it, is that they didn't deny it. Assume they are not involved, they are not guilty. They didn't deny it. They were clueless. They had no idea how to do it. And we know these people are super trained. They worked in military, they worked on true crime scenes. So how can you be so dumb when it comes to a situation like this? When you're put in a situation like this, you have someone bleeding on the floor and you don't know what to do. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself because unfortunately it's true. Charlie did not receive proper first aid from his team. And we know it from the interview with his head of security, Brian Harpole. Listen to him describing what happened. I really hope they will not copyright me on this. In case this one has to be muted when I publish this video, it is at 1 hour 53 minutes. You can listen to it.
So I'm down on him, and I don't know if when it sprayed me in the face, it caused me to flinch back or what. But then sometime around then, I said, I prepped the car, and you see two of the guys just take off towards the car. And then Gibby and Rick and Dan and I said, that's exfil now, And so we get up, and the timeline on that's like 15, 16 seconds, something like that, where you can see we're prepping. But the problem is direct pressure. Right, so when you're in a medical deal and you've been in I've had these before on major accidents and GSWs when you show up on calls, is you can't give direct pressure and move, right, in exfil, and you have to have counters, like giving CPR. You can't give people CPR like that. You have to have something. So it's like, hey, okay, well, let's just get in the car.
You can't.
Yeah, but then
you can't apply direct pressure to move either, because it's the neck and there goes the airway.
Right, and so
and it's just it's damn near the worst.
And then place. And then you don't get first aid when it's raining on you still, right? Or this first shot, second shot, how many more is coming in? So and so I was like, hey, let's just call for exfil. So I called for exfil. And so they let's go. The guys had prepped the car, so we're carrying. We trained officer down, I don't know how many times, or person down. We were carrying, and you can see it on the video. Rick breaks off at the perfect time. He goes around to the other side, jumps in. We do the drag. Don't try to shove the guy in. Half the team pushes in, the other half team drags from the other side. There's no comms for that. He knew that's what we need to do. We've done that. He's done that. We've got careers built on doing that, real time and in training. Guys weren't helping. Justin gets in. He knows his job to drive. That's his job. Dan jumps in. He knows he's nav. And so we're back there. Rick, we pull him across. Frank Turek, and it just jumps in the back. And so he's a known. So I was like, yep, it's Frank, but I'm not going to fight him on it. Frank's there because Frank's hurt. It's one of those things where you have dead kids on calls, and you're not supposed to let the crime scene be contaminated, but I'm not going to deny a parent the ability to come in and say goodbye to their child. And Frank's many times said that Charlie felt like he was his son.
I should have done a reaction video to this, because it is the most ridiculous piece of garbage interview I've ever seen. You can't hold pressure and transport a person. You are supposed to be trained for this. You should be able to pack anyone. He sounds clueless. And what bothers me more, does not take any accountability. Oh yeah, we move him here, there. We are trained for this. We've built careers on this. We are so great. You just had your boss shot on your watch, a meter away from you, dude. Maybe wait with asking for a promotion and a raise. We've also had amazing YouTubers showing us how the first aid was supposed to be performed. I'm not going to show you those videos here because they are full of fake blood. I don't want YouTube to misunderstand. But check them out. find them on YouTube. There definitely are ways. Takes 20 seconds, if something, to properly put pressure and pack the wound and transport the hurt person. There was one guy that was showing that you pack the wound, this is the first thing, you pack it, you band-aid it, and then you lift the arm, and then you put the band-aid under, and as the arm goes down, it causes pressure on the neck, and that's how you secure this one with the victim's arm. So if I know it from one YouTube video, how does the trained professional, super security guy build careers on it? How does he not know it? He says it's not possible.
Oh, what I missed, Mark, who trained
Frank
for
Turk,
what?
and it just
that guy right there.
And so he's a known. So I was like, yep, it's Frank, but I'm not going to fight.
Yeah, it's 259 people in here, only 47 likes.
Kids on calls,
please get the likes up.
The crime scene.
Double tap the face of your screen. Double tap. Get the likes up, please. And if you're not listening on your phone, then utilize the 3 dots at the top right corner. Please, let's get them up. Oh yeah, they trained, Mark. Yeah, they had a whole military squad out there. No first aid, not at all. Heck, later, take your shirt off and apply pressure. Yep. Nobody did CPR. Y'all, come on, hurry up. The quicker we can get the likes up, the quicker I can start back listening. Cause I still some other places I'm trying to go tonight. But it's just like a clear, almost, you know, for people who want to be honest and have integrity. It's a clear consistency. I can't even say the word now. That Candace ain't lying. Yeah, come on, y'all. Double tap. Just double tap. It's free. It don't cost a thing. The tab don't cost a thing. It don't cost a thing. It's free. Come on. And the quicker we get there, the quicker. Let me look at y'all kind of cockeyed. Let me look at you cockeyed. Come on. Get the likes up for me. Get the likes up for me. Double tap. Just like that. Yeah, nobody applied pressure. And they know they don't want her there to debate in person. They know that. But come on.
Native, but I'm not.
Oh, Lord.
I'm going to deny a parent the ability to come in and say goodbye to their child. And Frank's many times said that Charlie felt like he was his son.
I should have done a reaction video to this because it is the most ridiculous piece of garbage interview I've ever seen. You can't hold pressure and transport a person. You are supposed to be trained for this. You should be able to pack anyone. He sounds clueless. And what bothers me more, does not take any accountability. Oh yeah, we move him here, there. We are trained for this. We've built careers on this. We are so great. You just had your boss shot on your watch, a meter away from you, dude. Maybe wait with asking for a promotion and a raise. We've also had amazing YouTubers showing us how the first aid was supposed to be performed. I'm not going to show you those videos here because they are full of fake blood. I don't want YouTube to misunderstand. But check them out. Find them on YouTube. There definitely are ways. Takes 20 seconds, if something, to properly put pressure and pack the wound and transport the hurt person. There was one guy that was showing that you pack the wound, this is the first thing, you pack it, you band-aid it, and then you lift the arm, and then you put the band-aid under, and as the arm goes down, it causes pressure on the neck, and that's how you secure this one with the victim's arm. So if I know it from one YouTube video, how does the trained professional super security guy build careers on it? How does he not know it?
Super security.
It's not possible. The same when they say like you cannot do CPR, yeah, when there is not, it's not laying on a hard surface. You do it anyway. This is the first rule they teach you in medical school. This I know from medical shows I'm watching. I'm a specialist. First thing you do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay?
I know you're top pressure.
No matter where you are. Anyway, I'm not an expert. I'm just saying. His team.
I was going to say Miss
maybe
Tom
I can position
is.
myself in the middle here. Candace didn't lie. TPUSA didn't lie. Security did a poor job and never took accountability.
She has raised suspicions about the head of our technical team because he took an SD card out of a camera. She has spread absurd claims that Tyler Boyer, who we just had on the show, abuses male interns.
He sure is an ass eater.
The SD card thing is unbelievably suspicious. It's not something that you would do. Neither would you just run up onto a grassy knoll and record yourself. Again, these are unusual actions.
Yeah,
and
I mean, we should have
pretend like
we
it's
should have
normal
seen blood
to record
all
a
over
selfie
those
video of yourself
security.
and to prematurely announce
That I
somebody
know.
is dead. Maybe you should answer why all of that took place, because you guys told lies about, verifiable lies about why that took place. Because don't forget, Andrew Colvett sat next to you and said it was because people were stealing. People were stealing, you probably would want to grab the very expensive cameras and not the SD card for an event that was being live streamed. Regarding Tyler Boyer, I'm so glad we're going to do this live streamed because I'm happy to present to you the exact name of the intern, and I didn't say that he abused him. I didn't say it was not consensual. I said that he likes younger boys. I don't mean like younger as in they're not of the legal age. I'm just saying they're a lot younger than him. Yeah, I can give you the exact name of the intern that he hooked up with. That person was not at Turning Point USA, but I can also give you more than that, as well as people that are currently working for Turning Point USA who said that Tyler Boyer and these are young men tried to hook up with them after some events. So
yes, the SD card thing, they both agree. She said it and she stands by it. And I believe we all agree it was one of the weirdest things that happened right after Charlie was taken to the hospital. Together with that guy selfie video announcing Charlie didn't make it before they even got him to the car. Regarding Tyler Boyer, again, TPUSA claims that she accused him of sexually abusing male interns or male boys. I don't know. They insinuate that they're underage. Candace never said that. She never said he sexually abused anybody. This is what she said.
Also, another person who wrote us was telling me the story about Tyler Boyer's involvement in like Maricopa County politics in general. What did he do before in Arizona?
I just think that it's a murder
just the kind of
cover-up.
stories. Again, he said he approached him
It's
several times
political.
about embezzlement. You know, not Charlie. Tyler was hooking up with young interns, young male interns,
Spiritual.
young male workers, and he didn't even care. He's like, I will go on record because all of this happened. I had the proof that all of this happened, and everybody knows about Tyler Boyer at Turning Point USA. It's like an absurdity. But this is the person that is putting people into places of power at Turning Point USA.
So, TPUSA dudes, why your mind automatically went to sexual abuse? You didn't say it, never said anything about anything non-consensual. You know how sometimes it happened to me. I saw my kid with chocolate all over his face, okay? And I'm like, why do you have chocolate on your face? And the answer I hear is, I don't eat Nutella. So there is a volunteer information organically coming out, even when they're trying really not to. I call it chocolate theory, okay? Let's say. Is that what happened here? Did you fill in the gaps for us? I'm not saying anything. I'm just joking. Let's go to the next part.
She has suggested that TPUSA faith-affiliated pastors, like theologian Frank Turek, who we'll have on in a moment, and Pastor Rob McCoy, are part of a military, quote, infiltration of Turning Point, either because they are veterans or because they have family members who are.
Yeah, so I do believe the Calvary Chapel, their history with Chuck Smith, the evidence that it was a militant CIA effort to infiltrate the Christian faith and to tie the Christian faith to the political ideology of Zionism. I think there's a lot of evidence for that, and I'm happy to discuss that in a broader debate. I do think that things at Turning Point USA became a bit problematic when you started to, I would say, almost hijack genuine Christian faith and sort of roll it into this idea that you must support Israel in order to be a Christian. That's kind of floating into more opinion, but I think well backed by the fact.
You got to support
like theologian Frank Turek,
you got to support the devil if you want to be a Christian.
McCoy are part of a military infiltration of Turning Point, either because they are veterans or because they have family members who are.
Yeah, so I do believe the Calvary Chapel, their history with Chuck Smith, the evidence that it was a militant CIA effort to infiltrate the Christian faith and to tie the Christian faith to the political ideology of Zionism. I think there's a lot of evidence for that, and I'm happy to discuss that in a broader debate. I do think that things at Turning Point USA became problematic when you started
not gonna sue me.
I would say almost hijack genuine Christian faith and sort of roll it into this idea that you must support Israel in order to be a Christian. That's kind of floating into more opinion, but I think well backed by the facts of the founding of the Calvary Chapel Church during the decade of the 60s, where the CIA was really just spiking the ball on Christians in general.
Yeah, so she admits she said it and she stands by it, so there's not much to debunk. We've seen the pastors campaign against Candace, preaching,
and we've seen the advertisement
is evil. So I really don't know why USA would even bring it up. They shot themselves in the knee. Every time they made a false accusation, they validated Candace's claims even further.
Absolutely.
We also see that military thing. Who actually has a military background at TPUSA?
Was the medical examiner? Who were the doctors? And any chance they were military? Any chance they were military? I'm just wondering. And here's what I discovered preliminarily. The answer is yes. The doctor who worked on Charlie was Dr. Lee Trotter. Regarding Dr. Lee Trotter, he did his residency on the Air Force Base. He completed residency at the Keesler Air Force Medical Center.
Evil for bringing the facts.
I think he actually might be in the Air Force from what I'm looking at.
I'm mad
I confirmed that entirely, but there's a person who matches his name, age, description, living where he's living, who is actually in the Air Force, and he also, for a fact, is a pilot, so it would track that he was in the military. That's interesting. The medical examiner, Dr. Gidra Smith-Amaro, who that would be the appropriate person to have had a conversation
he was flying Egyptian plane?
In my dream, Charlie told me I should look into. She's a major in the Army. She's also from a major corporation. She's from the Erickson family. The Erickson Boyd Corporation is her family. She tells people that she is a direct descendant of Leif Erikson. This brings us into like Swedish Freemason stuff. And I'm sure, like I'm certain she's an Erikson. Like 1,000% certain that she is an Erikson. She's also now a lesbian. And I'm thinking, why was she just made a major in the Army? Why did they need this woman in? Why were people researching these doctors and this specific medical examiner? What the heck is going on? There's more. There's a lot more that I haven't covered, but I'm painting a picture here for you.
Again, bunch of weird coincidences. Nothing to see here. Let's continue.
Even if not everyone has been named specifically, though, Candace has effectively tarred everyone here with complicity in Charlie's death by repeatedly saying he was, quote, betrayed by, quote, everyone.
Sorry, that was a dream that I had, and it is also a realization that it has been months. People at Turning Point USA are in possession of text messages, and the day before Charlie died, in which he wrote out to you, and not just to people that work at Turning Point USA, but also security guards, that he thought that they were going to kill him tomorrow, explicitly. I find it highly unusual that you wouldn't share that information at all, or that you would sit by and be quiet, or at some points attack people that are trying to explore who they is, because I don't think anybody believes that Charlie thought that a trans furry kid who had never been on UVU's campus was going to kill him tomorrow. And your silence during moments when people are lying, like Josh Hammer, when he said, hey, this never happened, Charlie never blinked on Israel, makes you all look very, very suspicious. Lies are only necessary, okay, when you are covering something. And if you are covering the truth, you are betraying Charlie.
Again, she stands by it, so I am not going to try to debunk anything. She said it and wrote it on X multiple times. Next clip.
She has said Charlie's murder, quote, had to be approved by Charlie's friends, and then suggested those friends might have her murdered too, for, quote, knowing the truth.
So you notice that's like a Snopes tactic. When he says the quote, it's actually not a full quotation. I never said that. Obviously, in the context that he put it in, that Charlie's friends, quote, had to know he was going to be murdered. Did I say the sentence, had to know he was going to be murdered? Perhaps, but we're going to need to hear the full sentence because you're trying to context it in a way that is just untrue.
I'm still trying to find this exact quote. I could not. We've all seen clips of Candace saying that Charlie was betrayed and he was betrayed by those closest to him. But I did not find any evidence of her using the word approved, like his friends had to approve his assassination. But they must have approved it. I will keep looking and update you if I find anything. And you guys update me if you find it.
She has made claims of financial impropriety and fraud at Turning Point, adding up into the millions of dollars, which, again, is not true. Charlie made sure the organization was audited by a third party every year. He personally reviewed and he signed off on every expense report, and literally every single bill paid by the organization down to a single United States dollar. We have never missed a 990 deadline.
Okay, so immorality, like financial impropriety, does not necessarily mean that you committed true financial fraud. There's definitely financial impropriety at the company. I would say that if you are representing yourself as a charity and what you're actually doing is evaporating millions of dollars into various LLCs that have your name on it, that would be financial impropriety, right? Like if you could say, I'm a contractor on this LLC, on that LLC, I'm not doing anything illegal, but it's inappropriate, it's improper. Most people are not able to read those forms and won't understand what's happening to the $80 million. And I think that those questions are, of course, valid and that you guys should have no issues answering them. I am struck by the fact that you're still trying to conflate an annual audit with Charlie's explicit request to put together a Doge
She used to work, I
7
think
days before
she's
that.
the lady
These are not the
that
same.
used
You know
to
they're not the
work
same. I know they're
at
not the
Turning
same.
Point.
Okay, everyone knows that Doge is not the same as the audits that are required for 501c3s, conducting an internal audit, and having you still misrepresent that makes us uncomfortable. Address the Doge. That's got nothing to do with anything other than Charlie, right? Charlie felt that this needed to happen, and inside sources at your own company say it was because he didn't know where the money was coming from or how quickly and where exactly the money was being evaporated to.
Exactly. We don't care about the yearly audit. Will you do the Doge Charlie requested via email right before he was taken out? I hope this will come up on a live podcast. But now, since we know Candace won't be able to ask questions and hold them accountable in real time, they will throw in the same info. We do audit every year. We're good. You know, Charlie was crazy for requesting it. Oh well. Now I'm going to skip ahead because they are talking about maroon shirts, green hoodies. I find those things ridiculous and they prove nothing. Let's focus on debunking more serious accusations.
The attacks and allegations from Candace are either lies or they are innuendos thrown around with a total, reckless disregard for the truth, so that Candace can manipulate and string along an audience of people who don't realize they are being played. Instead of being able to grieve properly after one of the most heinous murders in American history, a murder many of us had to witness, my friends have had to endure harassment from people who have gotten whipped up by what Candace is saying. In fact, I would say we have suffered more harassment from these people than we have from Antifa supporters who overtly celebrate Charlie's murder. And just like a lot of those Antifa members, many of these people take this delight in how gross and unpleasant they can be. What our friends have had to endure is not funny, and it's not insignificant. It is evil. I have seen it.
Okay, conflating people that are trying to figure out who murdered Charlie Kirk with like Antifa is actually objectively funny. That's an unforced error. They should not have included that in the statement. Somebody in that room was like, should we say that? Should we not? And somebody said, no, we shouldn't say that. And then somebody else in the room said, no, we should, let's keep it in. That second person was wrong. That should have been struck from the statement. It's very silly, okay? It's very silly to attack your own audiences who are concerned and your own donors who are concerned and say, you're Antifa if you don't accept this absurd Fed slop. If you're not gonna drink the Fed slop, then you are Antifa. Just not a good idea whatsoever, okay? That is not what's happening here. You are not the victim. Charlie is, actually. He's dead. And to pretend like you are too aggrieved to be able to answer the questions makes entirely no sense. Obviously, if you were actually under a real amount of stress, if you actually were deeply upset that people had you on a list of suspects or thought that you were suspicious, you would just clarify things instantly, immediately. It's so easy. It's free. If someone said, Candace, what were you doing when Charlie Kirk was shot? I'd be like, I was sitting down at my table prepping my show. Like, the question doesn't offend me because I had nothing to do with Charlie dying. Okay, this is a psychological technique that is failing. It is failing for you, and you're upset.
I don't think BB put it together. I think Mike McCoy.
Passage of time, people.
Rob McCoy, or either Eric Trump.
I'm Mike Pagale, 3 Michelin chef, and I've been cooking for 25 years.
That other dark-haired guy. I can't think of his name.
Candace. Like I said, she's sticking to her guns. She finds them suspicious.
He got caught lying
she's
too.
Not hiding it. So there was not much to debunk. Again, I just wish I could hear an answer now. I wish TPUSA did now response video to her response and be like, actually, I would love that. And now we have to wait till 15th. Why? Why do they have to sit down with lawyers again?
Yeah.
This is what you're going to say. It's going to be scripted.
For months, we have received hundreds, thousands, I suspect,
and don't let her
emails
bait
and
you.
calls asking us to respond.
Yeah.
People have wanted us to invite Candace on the show. But for a long time, our approach was to say nothing. We did that for several reasons. First, we thought that her prevarications were so absurd that nobody would believe them.
Vicky.
We shouldn't have to answer questions about secret tunnels or Egyptian Air Force planes. That sort of thing is just, it's beneath contempt to respond to. The second reason we've said so little, though, is because there's a good rule of thumb, which Charlie followed. Do not feed the trolls. Focus on the mission. Reviving America, uplifting young people, making heaven crowded. Don't give air to people who want to tear you down and sow discord. Lastly, we didn't respond because Charlie always viewed Candace as a friend, and we were holding out hope that she would return that friendship and stop what she was doing.
Okay, before I show you her response. Now you say Charlie considered her a friend? People have been attacking her and calling her a liar, saying Charlie and her haven't been friends for years. Now you come out and affirm that in fact they were friends because it suits your agenda. You want to look like the good guys, so you tug on emotional strings. That's what you're doing. A little bit shady, I must say. Here is Candace's response. And by the way, the constant talk, I believe Charlie was a good guy. He had a job to do, he had a giant business, he had to deal with investors. Of course, there were some stuff going on. But the thing they are building him to be now, like this Jesus almost person, you know? We need to look up to who he was, and Charlie would have never, or Charlie would have. And he was just like, stop. Enough. He was a good guy. Horrible thing happened to him. That's it.
Okay, so the first thing he says there is we didn't respond because it's beneath us. Like, that's just not the right attitude. I mean, that is an elitist attitude. It is beneath us to respond to the very people who showed up in scores because they were so moved by Charlie's assassination that they all poured into the Staples Center, poured their tears out and made videos and donated. It is beneath us to then respond to questions that you have that are meaningful because we just think it's so stupid that you would suggest that the feds are involved in an assassination. That's never happened in American history. What? That's a ridiculous thing. The second thing he says there is Charlie always said, don't feed the trolls. Well, that flies into the face of what he says thereafter, where he says Candace and Charlie were friends. So I'm not a troll, okay? I'm not a troll. I'm not trolling. I'm not someone who's hated Turning Point and wanted Turning Point to fail. I'm actually the exact opposite of that. And that's why the people believe in me and they trust me because they feel that I'm the only one that's acting right in this situation. Who wouldn't want to have every stone unturned if they cared about somebody? Who wouldn't want to have every question answered? Who wouldn't be immediately suspicious to see Egyptian military jets? Who wouldn't go, why the hell were these jets around Turning Point way before, years before Charlie's assassination? Who is on these jets? Instead, you're mentioning the Egyptian planes for the fourth time, so I would like to recommit everybody that is watching this to figuring out what the hell is going on with these Egyptian planes because they're nervous about them, okay? They're mentioning so many times, they're just trying to give the vibe that this is so crazy. No, they are fearful. The Egyptian planes hold the key, and that is obvious even in Blake Neff's statement. But yeah, I am not a troll, okay? And people followed what felt to them as authenticity, and it was not you. They were not getting that from Charlie's closest friends. Why is that? They weren't getting that from Charlie's most loved pastors. Why is that? Don't blame me for the bad energy that you exuded, okay? Don't blame me for the fact that you didn't pass the gut check with the public. That's why you're doing this, okay? That is why you are doing this, because your strategy failed. In fact, this is your old school Turning Point before they put on the faith pants. This is your old school Turning Point lesson in what the free markets are. The free markets saw what you were offering, right? And they saw what I was offering. You were offering, we should accept this and move on. And I was saying we need to investigate this. And the free markets said no to Turning Point USA. Anyways, let him take this away in terms of what he thought, I guess, was the best way to be a friend to Charlie Kirk. What did he think was the best way for them to show that they were friends with Charlie Kirk? Keep going, Blake.
Yeah, don't screw with Candace, man. I would never ever want to be on the receiving end of Candace Owens' rage. This is not a good place to be because she might make mistakes. She might maybe get little things wrong sometimes, but she is here for the right reasons, and she's coming after anyone shady, okay? Let's also play this clip.
But a week from now, it's going to be 3 months since Charlie's murder. Candace has not changed her behavior. She has continued to spread falsehoods about Charlie's friends, and she continues to concoct new ones about new people. She's using these falsehoods to enrich herself while dividing the conservative movement at an absolutely critical time for this country.
I have to applaud that audacity. I have to applaud it. You do. You have to applaud it.
That audacity.
Here, but I'm trying not to swear.
Y'all ready to go to Romania?
This company.
Y'all ready to go to Romania? Y'all better get these likes up, Lord. Oh my God. I got way too much to show y'all for my likes not to be up. Get the likes up. Double tap the face of your screen if you're on your phone. If not, hit the 3 dots at the top right and get the likes up.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to discuss an important topic. Let's get started. So today we're diving into one of the most talked about conversational topic online. Erika Kirk allegedly being banned from Romania. Is it true? Is it another social media storm? Let's unpack the facts and fictions and words.
Erika Kirk, was she banned from Romania?
Erika Kirk, widow of Charlie Kirk and newly appointed CEO of Turning Point USA, is accused of being banned from Romania due to her past charity work. The non-profit in question is Romanian Angels, part of her Everyday Heroes Like You initiatives. A viral post claim the organization was involved in child trafficking and was expelled from Romania in 2011. Some even allege connections to organ trafficking networks in the UK and Israel.
Trafficking.
Others say her charity masked adoption schemes that were actually trafficking operations. It's dark, disturbing, and emotionally triggering. But here's the truth. There is no official evidence that Erika Kirk is banned from Romania. Fact checkers from Reuters, Hindustan Times, and other outlets have found no Romanian government records, no U.S. State Department statements, and no legal investigations confirming these claims.
It wouldn't be out of U.S.
initiative was focused on organizing Christmas gifts and support for Jill Constanta. So this conversation seems to stem from broader trafficking.
Hold on. Get the lights up. I'm trying to stall for y'all. I'm trying to stall for y'all. Double tap.
Allegations about Boyer long before the shooting.
Get the lights up.
So basically,
okay, if I cut it off.
Hello, welcome back to Trigger Smart. Now this one is going to be maybe a trigger for some people. So if you cannot handle talking about human exploitation, then this would be your time to leave. This is going to talk about some of the alleged ties to Erika Kirk, some strangeness around TPUSA, and then basically proven child exploitation and human exploitation in Ukraine since the war started. Now, of course, I have to preface this by saying that these are just allegations. This is just content that's out on social media. There's no proof in some of the cases of some of the things that are going on. So always do research for yourself. And let's get into it. So we start off with this video here. This is a gentleman that was on Redacted, and he has a claim that is very interesting.
Now you have evidence that these people had character questions long before the assassination, and we should not forget that and allow them to just have this protection of discipleship. Can you tell us what you found about the allegations about Boyer long before the shooting?
Sure. So basically, there is on my website, there's a lot of other documented cases of allegations of sexual assault going back years, and it always kind of gets covered up. This is one from 2024. You can see the date is December 2024. So this is an alleged sexual assault.
Tyler Boyer?
Report. But this is a very young girl, very young. Yeah, as typically happens with Turning Point, they recruit all these really young, very attractive girls usually. And then Martinez is actually a current.
Can you tell us what you found about the allegations about Boyer long before the shooting?
Tyler Boyer.
So basically, there is on my website, there's a lot of other documented cases of allegations of sexual assault going back years, and it always kind of gets covered up. This is one from 2024. You can see the date is December 2024. So this is an alleged sexual assault. I'm going to just summarize a little bit what's in this police report. But this is a very young girl, very young. Yeah, as typically happens with Turning Point, they recruit all these really young, very attractive girls usually. And then Martinez is actually a current board member on the Arizona Young Republicans, so he's involved in the Republican scene. You may have remembered the scandal that the Republicans had, but there's Turning Point connections there as well. But let's skip that for a second. So the victim alleges that she was a junior employee working with Martinez, who was a senior employee, and Tyler Boyer, and Martinez acted as her, quote, project leader. But from the police report, Martinez is with this victim, and they're in a car together alone, and she has a dress on, and he places his hand on the inside of.
Okay, now we won't let it go all the way to the details for obvious reasons, but there have been. So first of all, every company, especially the larger you get, the more contractors and things you bring in, you're going to have harassment. It's just going to happen. People are going to date and they break up. People are going to harass other people. There may be some inappropriate interactions and things like that. That is going to happen. That's why you have HR. Part of the issue is they're alleging that Tyler Boyer was essentially functioning as HR. So instead of this case and apparently some others going directly to HR so they can handle it the correct legal way, they're being cycled through higher ups, and that can create problems. You may run into situations where something happens and just kind of brushed to the side.
It's all a part of the standard operating procedures.
Whereas HR may have actually done the correct legal thing and pressed charges or whatever they need to do legally. So, very interesting. So for YouTube reasons, I'm not going to use certain terminology that's in here. But here's 10 facts about human exploitation, I'll call it. At any given moment, an estimated 50 million people are being victimized in situations of trafficking and exploitation, including forced marriage worldwide. 25% of these are children.
Forced marriage.
Human exploitation is any situation of exploitation that a person cannot refuse or leave because of threats, violence, coercion, deception, or abuse of power. Now, that's really important to understand because it doesn't necessarily mean that they're an unwilling participant, because they might be coerced into thinking they want to do it, or they may be offered money, or threats to their family, for example. So this is not as straightforward as you would think. Now, it says that you often hear about trafficking hotspots. One hotspot that I've been hearing about is supposedly Ukraine. This is a France 24 news report, and this was back in basically the start of the war, 2022, and they're talking about this very thing.
Well, another security issue that police are facing here is human trafficking. Posted around the border crossing are leaflets like this, which warn refugees about the traffickers working in their area. Well, it advises refugees not to give away their passports, to be wary of immediate job offers, and only to take official transportation. The refugees crossing over are mainly women and children, and this group is unfortunately vulnerable to targeting by criminals.
Yesterday they said that Erika was the one who was running the shots, gave the demands on how the conversation, I'm not going to say debate, would be, and that it had to be in person. So because he said that Erika was the one who was calling the shots, knowing that Candace is going hard for her husband, also knowing that she is tied to foreign countries because she had her nonprofit that was, remember, was accused of being a hub in Ukraine on a military base for soldiers that housed her angels. Yeah, same thing, different setup. And she did that young, coming right off of that pageant, that Trump pageant. So if she made those demands for Candace, this is why I'm including her in the lies, in the deceit of her husband. Let's go.
You heard what she said there. It's interesting. She said, be wary of like job offers.
She give off which.
So these people that are getting, especially the adults that are ending up in this situation, it might initially be offered to them as like, hey, I have this job opportunity. You can make money. Come with us. Trust us. Here's some money up front. Do you need some food and clothes right now? I'll give you that. And then once they get into that situation, then they're stuck. Now with children, that's a whole different situation because they don't really have the mental capacity to judge that kind of stuff in a lot of cases. And they're also very vulnerable. And just a quick side note, this happens everywhere around the world. It happens in all 50 US states as well. So if you think this is like a third world issue, or that like the Ukraine orphan situation that people are alleging is unique, it's not. But let's dig some more into that. We have this Trillion OX or Trillion 0X account, and he's saying heart-shattering testimony by a Romanian woman who knows exactly what Romanian angels, he says angles, ministry allegedly did, trafficking 86,000 children from poor families. Don't let censors gaslight you with fact checks. This is the truth about Erika Kirk. Now again, this is just his allegation. And if you come down here, you can see almost 1 million views, 5,000 reposts, but let's go ahead and check this out.
Yeah, can you tell us? Thank you.
Yes, I can tell you. First of all, I want to say that Erika was also a victim because she was pushed in the pageant without...
Oh, okay. Yeah, I believe that too. I thought she was... I was the only person I've heard say that she was a victim. She had been ran through the system, but we have to also remember that her dad worked for Donald Trump with Trump Towers. Now, we also remember that there at some point they kind of sacrificed their own kids. Even Trump with Ivanka, allegedly. So she still would be a victim. Even, yeah.
Yeah, can you tell us? Thank you.
Yes, I can tell you. First of all, I want to say that Erika was also a victim because she was pushed in the pageant without very, very young, and she just win right away. And then she worked for Trump. Right. And Trump introduced after the Jerusalem.
So now listen to what she said. She's saying that Erika is the victim or a victim.
She
and
was.
If you think about it, if you're 16, 17 years old, you're going into these super high pressure, high level pageants.
Yep.
And then you're with Trump, which I'm not alleging anything about Trump, but the fact that, she's in these pageants and behind Trump, that they really push people hard and kind of skip the growth stuff and move right to, big business and big money and that kind of thing. And I think it's very interesting too that her net worth at 21, I believe, was like 115 million or something like that. Yeah. But let's continue forward.
Introduced to Kirk to work for Kirk. She just was a honeypot for Charlie Kirk.
Yep.
And Trump pushed her to work for Charlie Kirk.
Now, this is just this woman's allegations, but if this is all real, which it seems like this interview and all this stuff might be, she's alleging that
she was a plant.
Erika Kirk was just a honeypot for Charlie. So that would mean that Charlie was exploiting Erika Kirk as well.
No.
Very interesting.
No, I don't think that. I don't think that. That's not what I think. I think that about a month ago, we had that young lady was she from Russia? Who was groomed and she was taught to spy. Yeah, no, I think that Erika Kirk was a plant. She was planted there to spy, to learn his weaknesses, so that they would eventually take over his business, steal his business from him. That's what I think. I don't think he knew what she was and who she was. I don't think so. I think once that money started really coming up missing and didn't know where it was going and how. Now the question is, I'm sure he did his research to know that she has some trafficking allegations in Romania. Surely he knew that, right? Yeah, and then when I think about how she said when he was laying wherever and we saw his hand and she said, I really did love you. As if she wasn't supposed to fall in love. She just had an assignment, or he didn't believe she loved him. I mean, who would say that in that manner? I really did love you. Who says that? It's just, I love you. Oh my God, I love you. I'm gonna miss you. Oh, what am I gonna do without you? I mean, I really did love you. So when I processed that through my head, what would make a person say that? That's saying to me, although I was sent there, I was a plant there to spy and make you, that little girl, so that lady said when she was a little girl, she was taught how to make the man fall in love with her. I think that's what she did. And I think at some point she either may have caught feelings and really did begin to fall for him. That would make her say, I really did love you. Or what else? What else? Yeah, no. It don't sound like I met you at the park. I met you at a friend's house and we just, got to know each other and fell in love. I'm not getting that. I'm getting a plant from Trump to be a spy.
Erika was 23 years old and she is already 500 million on her value.
So she's saying at 23 years old, she was 500 million was her net worth. Now you have to remember too that her parents were also defense contractors. At least that's what I've seen reported. Yeah. So I mean, they could have already had a ton of money already. So she could have already been well off before she even started all these other organizations and businesses.
They go and she has several company, not model company, fashion company and other companies. And then she went in Romania with the military. I have the documentation. I'm trying to send it to you. And she works with the government, the military government, to...
Okay, so she's talking about Erika working with the government. And I remember I've heard several reports that Erika Kirk was maybe like a CIA or FBI or U.S. government asset in different ways, or that she was working with them in some capacity. Very interesting.
To the several very poor city in Romania, where they try to adopt and they did kidnap very young children because there are a lot of family, like they have 7, 8, 9 kids. They were not able to feed the kids, so they offer them some money, and the parents think that, okay, that kid is going to be adopted in another country and it's going to have a great future. So they just lie to them, and the kids, they were taken away from them without proper documentation, proper paperwork, because they work with different prosecution. And
she is alleging that in this situation that these families in these third world areas or in these war-torn areas, that they have many children and they can't afford them, which, you know, anyone that has 4 or 5 or 6 kids can understand. They're expensive. So what's happening is she's alleging that these people are going in and they are basically
selling their kids
with improper documentation, promising to take care of the children, and then the children are leaving with them, and who knows what's happening after that. That's kind of her allegation.
Happens a lot.
Child support, whatever agency they have at that time, and they were paid. So
it happens a lot, especially when they say they're part of a church or on the missions.
As 4 or 5 or 6 kids can understand, they're expensive. So what's happening is she's alleging that these people are going in and they are basically illegally, with improper documentation, promising to take care of the children, and then the children are leaving with them, and who knows what's happening after that. That's kind of her allegation.
The child support, whatever agency they have at that time, and they were paid. So they steal like 86,000 kids from Romania, and they send it to UK, Israel, and I don't know if other countries all over the world. They were and nobody knows what those kids, they end up.
She's saying that 86,000 kids so far have been unaccounted for, and they don't know where they ended up at. Now, again, this is just allegations, but I found this all very interesting. Now, this is just kind of a side note, because I was doing my research, but there is a adult video called Romanian Angels. I'm sure it's unrelated, but I thought that was very interesting. Now, what really triggered me to start digging into some of this stuff in this video specifically
like
was
porn?
Canadian prepper, who I've been watching for years. He had a video with this guest here. I'm going to show you parts of it, but he basically works in war-torn areas, and his whole purpose is to protect people like this that are getting exploited. And he shares some gems.
In crisis zones and disasters, these criminals that you're talking about, they're drawn to that. They recognize the opportunity because they're opportunists.
Right.
So they recognize, okay, there's people that I can exploit, there's resources I can exploit. I'll give you a case in point. When we were in Ukraine, our mission at the behest of the government, this wasn't us just freelancing, was to rescue orphans that were on the front line, get to them first before the criminal element, the criminal gangs could get them and take them away.
Right. Okay, so he's saying that in Ukraine, part of his job was to go and get the children that were orphaned or just separated from their parents, get them before the criminal element does, right? So one thing that he'll bring up here in a second is
undocumented
in the world,
immigrants, like he tried to do those war, 600 kids.
Even just a natural disaster, any type of tragedy, these opportunistic criminals and human exploitationists, we'll call them, they come in and they start doing this kind of behavior. And they do it because in a lot of cases they can make a lot of money. So again, it's, capitalism.
Take them across the border into Belarus, Romania, wherever they were going. And there were times where we showed up at the same time. And they were working.
So really quick there, if you heard what he said that these criminal traffickers and these gangs would take the children into Romania. So I just thought that was interesting as well, because the Ukraine war, Romania Romanian angels, and people are alleging that there was some funny business going on with these children.
Out in the open, Russians weren't shooting at them. Ukrainians didn't really know who they were, so they weren't shooting at them. And it was a race against time to get to these orphanages and get the kids first.
Y'all hear that? So they wasn't shooting at them. So that means that they are working in cahoots with them. Again, all of this is reminding me of Trump with this deporting people. Just this mass deportation that won't have documents, right? Because they're illegal. Taking them over to these foreign countries that Trump has already made some type of negotiating deals with. So once they drop them off, when the people were coming, because they all are working together, they're not shooting at them. They're not stopping nothing, even if they ops.
These
allegedly
gangs would take the children into Romania. So I just thought that was interesting as well, because the Ukraine war, Romania, Romanian angels, and people are alleging that there was some funny business going on with these children.
Out in the open, Russians weren't shooting at them. Ukrainians didn't really know who they were, so they weren't shooting at them. And it was a race against time to get to these orphanages and get the kids first and get them to safety. Get them to where the government wanted them, where they could actually watch over them, get them away from these front lines. People who are trying to traffic them. People who are trying to traffic.
So the people who was trying to traffic them, the military, quote unquote, would get them, take them to the military base where the soldiers, it's what they said about her setup, because it was on the military base. And so when diplomats and foreign countries interact, the kids are already there. Reminds me also of the undercover Fed agent that did that big bust with all those little kids. So so in essence, they just grabbed them first. They military, they just grabbed them before the illegal traffickers got a hold of them. So they are trafficking too. So they are strong. The U.S. and I'm gonna say the U.S. and the foreign elite are grabbing the kids first, taking them to the military base, and practically doing the same thing that the illegal traffickers are doing. They're just doing it and making the big money. Got it? Just like the drugs. He's letting out a big time drug dealer, and whatever negotiation he had with Venezuela before, it got voided out. That's why he is blowing them up, because he no longer needs whatever deal for drugs he had set up with Venezuela. Yeah, so he's just stopping all their traffic. So something happened, pissed him off, and he's saying, y'all not gonna make no money, and I'm gonna let old Honduras Martinez out of prison so he could do the work that y'all was supposed to do. So they drug dealing. The elite. I need for y'all to stay woke. Are y'all still with me?
I mean, 1 month into the war, they admitted there were 20,000 children missing.
Are y'all still with me? I mean, I may be spinning and don't know it. Can y'all hear me? Maybe I can. Hold on, I've been having internet issues. I may be spinning my wheels. Y'all get the likes up. Double tap the screen. I mean, y'all not making no movement. My likes not going up. Okay, Miss Jackson, thank you. This reminds me of Scandal when it was on. It reminds me of Scandal. And it also reminds me of the movie Taken. To some degree. As far as the foreign. The foreign trafficking. But yeah, it's just horrible. I just didn't have any idea that the biggest dealers was the political elites. The biggest child trafficking apists, serial apists were political and foreign leaders. They are serial. And it look like your president may be a serial killer. Iller. With all these people allegedly doing something to themselves. Yeah. Yeah. It's a big pattern here. I ain't gonna even joke.
People are alleging that there was some funny business going on with these children.
Out in the open, Russians weren't shooting at them. Ukrainians didn't really know who they were, so they weren't shooting at them. And it was a race against time to get to these orphanages and get the kids first.
Nasty
and get them to safety. Get them to where the government wanted them, where they could actually watch over them, get them away from these front lines.
People who are trying to traffic them.
People who are trying to traffic them.
The biggest monopoly of evilness. I agree.
1 month into the war, they admitted there were 20,000 children missing.
So he said in just 1 month, there were 20,000 children missing. And I assume that the government was telling him that there was 20,000 children missing. In 1 month. This war's been going on for years. This is insane.
That's why they need that mass traffic. I mean, that
I don't know where that's at.
Mass deportation
of children. They just don't know where they are. That's in a war zone. It's exactly the same in disaster zones. They show up, they recognize, and the reason why I mentioned the exploitation is because that's the fastest criminal trade on the planet.
My energy bill dropped from $150 to $50 by doing this. My friends laughed at me when I spent $49 on a power saver device that could cut.
So there you go. He says that one of the fastest growing criminal trades, that one of the fastest ways to make money is to exploit human beings. And now, remember too, in the previous administration, when the borders were open, there was a lot of allegations.
I need for y'all to remember. Epstein admit that I don't know if he he pled guilty, so he had to admit that he got some freak something, but he's CIA and he's intelligence and all of that. But anyway, in his files, he makes mention of who introduced him to the trafficking. He had his own sick pimp game going on. It was Trump who introduced him to this part of it. And I agree, Nugo. And we know that he was involved politically as far back as with Bill, when Bill was in office. So forward, he was on his knees asking to get in, I guess. Did he have to lick his way in? I don't know. This is crazy. What suck, lick? I don't know.
This happening too. There were children that would come in through the border from all the South American countries, and I know other countries drop people off and down there too. But what's happening is the cartels, they would charge people, and then the cartels would get them across the border, and then those people would be indebted to the cartels. That's another form of human exploitation. So this is just a very widespread thing. And I think it's always happened since the beginning of humanity. It's just now it's more talked about. There's more video, there's more traces of it. But this is something that is a huge issue everywhere.
Even here in Canada and in the United States, when they're being exploited, which our two countries, by the way, are two of the biggest consumers of child exploitation. And I specifically targeted Canadians when I was working down in the Caribbean. I won't tell you what island.
So he just said that the U.S. and Canada are the biggest consumers. So that means that, yes, there is human exploitation happening within every, all 50 United States. Mm-hmm. But in these third world countries where stuff's happening, like in Ukraine and Romania, with these allegations happening over there, they could be getting them there, but people here in the US and in Canada are the ones who are consuming them. In some cases, possibly literally, right? Mm-hmm. But I find that very interesting. So basically, the third world is the market, and the US and Canada is where they're making their purchases. Mm-hmm. Very disturbing. Erika's nonprofit was called Everyday Heroes Like You, Inc., and it's registered in Scottsdale, Arizona, 501(c) public charity, and it has the address and everything. I found it interesting. If you click on their URL, it takes you to Erika's proclaim365.com, where she has her shop and her Bible and 365 and all that stuff there. I found that very interesting. So I went on to ChatGPT, and I know you guys love ChatGPT.
Christian.
But I went on there and I asked it, I said, basically, was there any involvement of Erika Kirk in any of the stuff with Ukraine?
Let's go.
Period. Like any of it. And it says, as far as money, influence, citizenship, official cooperation, etc., nothing credible shows up in the public record. All the Ukraine-related stuff around her looks like disinformation aimed at weaponizing Charlie's assassination, not genuine connections. So I thought this was very interesting as well. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you have criminals that are doing this type of exploitation. But look at this. Family members are involved in nearly half of child exploitation cases.
Family members, absolutely.
That's insane. So recruitment into trafficking, roughly 41% is from family. That's terrible. Intimate partner, 14%, 11% friends, and 34% other. So that means of all the humans, adults and children, that are exploited, only 34% is coming from maybe these gangs and like the big global trades and stuff like that. 41% is from family. And then they end up in begging, domestic work, hospitality, kind of, forced to work these resorts and things like that. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, illicit activities. It says only 6%. So typically when you think of human exploitation, your first thought is illicit activities, but according to this, it's a very small percentage. They're being exploited in other ways, basically as slaves. And it says main methods of control, psychological. Mm-hmm. That would be threatening them.
Remember, y'all, that
purpose in life and things like that.
Russian lady said
forcing them
it started out being. Hold on.
And then, of course, you have this one.
Remember, she said it started out being her nanny's husband who was taking her to those elite functions. And when her mother found out, she thought her mother was going to rescue her from it. And only thing that changed, instead of him taking her, she would take her. And she was getting, so she weeded out the middleman and started pimping her own daughter. So when you hear them say family members, yeah, they sell them for money to the elite. Yeah. And that, y'all remember when Candace said, don't let the government know how smart your kids are, because they will target them and try to, snatch them and do that MK Ultra type stuff like they did Kanye and countless other people. It's just way too much. It's huge.
10%, and then basically being drugged, which, there's some movies that have talked about stuff like that. There's one with Denzel Washington where he was drugged, and he did a videotape, and they showed it to his wife. Now, saying gender-wise, about 66% are
That's
female.
The same stuff that Diddy is doing.
Maybe a little bit higher
That's
than that.
Exactly what Diddy did, and then tried to extort
money from. And it says the majority of children that are exploited For this reason,
Her parents.
67% are between 15 and 17 years old. And they thought it would only be fair to fact check the claims that Erika Kirk's charity was ever tied to trafficking. As conservative activist Erika Kirk publicly mourned her husband Charlie, social media users targeted her work on Romanian charity project. So let's look down here and see what they say.
He just said
Did
a
y'all know
different
Erika Kirk
name.
is banned from Romania because her evangelical group was accused of trafficking children out of Romanian villages, one person said on X. Lots of posts like that. Kirk, whose maiden name is Francie, founded the nonprofit organization Everyday Heroes Like You, which aimed to assist other charities. So it's a charity that helped other charities. That work included an international Romanian Angels project that teamed up with the U.S. Marine Corps to sponsor a Romanian orphanage, Kirk once told Arizona Foothills magazine. So if that is the case, then that means if this was true at all, which, this is going over the facts here. If it was in fact true, if the U.S. Marine Corps was teaming up with her and she was doing that, then that means that the United States would also be implicated there, right? So what's the evidence for these claims? They're saying there isn't any. Some posts repeat baseless narrative without giving any hint about where it originated.
Well, what happened to her nonprofit?
One of the earliest posts they found said Kirk's organization was linked to missing Romanian children and trafficked and included screenshots of 2 articles. The first was an Israeli newspaper, Haaretz, was about a Romanian investigation into Israeli adoption agencies and an international conspiracy to sell children's organs for transplants. Now, we do know, not necessarily this particular case I'm looking at right now.
What happened to her?
But there are many cases where these humans that are trafficked, especially children, do get harvested for organs. That's been seen in many countries. It's not just Ukraine. This is kind of universal. And again, it's for money, and it's for, in a lot of cases, it's for elites and people to get organs that they want to use in their bodies to live longer. And we kind of heard something from, I think it was, it was a meeting with like Xi Jinping and Kim Jong-un and also Putin. He was caught in like a hot mic moment where he basically said like, with, transplanting of organs and stuff, we can basically live forever, right? So it says the report did not mention Kirk, Romanian Angels, or Everyday Heroes. Kirk was only 13 years old when that report was published. So clearly it couldn't have been about her. The second was a 2023 article, media organization founded that reports internationally, including Romania. It details the stories of Romanian children, now adults, who were adopted internationally and who sought information on the Romanian births, including some people who were concluded that they were trafficked as children. The report also did not mention Kirk, Romanian Angels, or Everyday Heroes Like You. So we have a lot of sources that are making allegations and they're saying these things, but they don't really have proof. I just thought it was interesting in that Canadian prepper video where the guy basically specifically says Ukraine and specifically says Romania. So that's what really made that connection for me, and it just kind of piqued my curiosity. The flyer says people can change the life of Romanian orphans this holiday season by adopting a child. Now again, according to that other woman, she alleges that they were taking children without proper documentation.
Where is the
and
nonprofit?
They were selling them off or shipping them away to other countries, and no one knows where they ended up. An archived version of Everyday Heroes Like You website says the project involved a partnership with U.S. service members and United Hands Romania. They contacted the U.S. Marine Corps and U.S. Army to ask about the partnerships, and they did not hear back. Owen Prasakariu, I probably butchered that, United Hands Romania's vice president, told us the organization had collaborated with Kirk, then Eric Francie, who personally sponsored gifts for children at Antonio Placement Center. Now, that's what I heard it was basically the shipment of gifts to children. It wasn't a adoption type of ring or something similar. We never heard or received any bad reports about her personally. Romanian media reported Erika Kirk's Everyday Heroes Like You made donations in the form of gifts to Antonio Placement Center in Constanta, as well as the local hospital between 2011 and 2015. There's no evidence that the ministries were involved in actual international adoptions. A local newspaper article documented the gift donations to the orphans. So, a lot of people are saying that these international adoptions are happening.
Planning to publish your book, you can reach 3 billion more readers. If you've written a book and you're thinking about publishing...
The media in Romania, assuming they were part of this, if it was an operation, are saying that there's no evidence that there were any actual adoptions. Okay? They also searched for the Nexus News database for reports about Kirk being banned from Romania, and they have found none. Berate claimed that Erika Kirk is banned from Romania because of her evangelical group was accused of trafficking children out of Romanian villages. False. Okay, so what's the takeaway from all of this? Well,
the takeaway is that you're searching under Erika Kirk, and you're not fact checking under her maiden name, because at that time it would not have been Erika Kirk, right? It would have been Erika. What is her maiden name? Oh, I think it closed. I'm not sure. Have you researched it, Queenie? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was, no, it's not Francis. I don't think. Let me see. FRANTZVE. MEMPHIS. So what have she been doing since the pageant? They cleaning her. They washed the system down, because it was under her maiden name, and so now it's looking like she did nothing between 2012 What did she do from 2012 to 2019 when she met up with Charlie? In 2012, she won Miss Arizona, and she was 23. Whitewashed. Absolutely. Hold up. Wait a minute. I thought they were saying she won the pageant. Kirk participated in a Miss Arizona USA in 2012 pageant, which she won on her 23rd birthday, and then represented Arizona in the Miss USA 2012. Oh, Miss USA. Okay. But failed to place. She holds a degree in American Legal Studies, but she got a doctorate in 2025. In 2019, Kirk launched a podcast, Midweek Rise Up. So what did she do between 2012 and 2019. Yeah, I know. I'm looking at it. Yeah, I'm looking at. But what did she do between after she won the pageant until she hooked up with a podcast? What was she doing? Because it's missing that time period. She had that nonprofit organization with those kids in Romania. They have just deleted it from the internet. Yeah, but it really don't say she did nothing. There's nothing from 2012 to 2019 during the time when she had that nonprofit. And it used to be there. It used to be in here. It has been washed out, washed clean. And so now it looked like it don't say she was in school. It don't say none of that. They say she got a doctorate in 2025. Yeah, no, I ain't buying it. And of course, it's not even. Let me tell you how whitewashed, washed down this is. It's not even on Wikipedia. It's not even mentioning in her bio that the pageants that she won was a Trump pageant. It's not saying Trump pageant at all. So it's removing her affiliation early on with Trump. Now, why would they do that? I see 2012 is when she won. It says a beauty pageant title holder, titled Miss Arizona USA 2012, in major competition Miss USA 2012 unplaced. It don't mention Trump. Oh yeah, no. She was a plant. And I believe she did have those organizations, and she had it in between, because they said it was immediately after she won that pageant. She had, I mean, because there's paperwork of the nonprofit organization. So what did she do with the nonprofit organization? What did she do with it? She got in trouble with it, and somebody is working, have worked out and had it removed. I wonder, can she go to Romania? Man, this is dirty work for real. Dirty work for real. High SLR. This dirty work, y'all, for real. So if we ever want to know, the organization was Romanian. Cause I saw two different names up in here on this one. At first it was Romania Angels. I mean, she even had a commercial. Oh, that's Boyer. Tyler Boyer has a record. Lord. Let me go back.
Or that like the Ukraine orphan situation that and this was back in violence, coercion, deception, or abuse of power. Now that's really important to understand because it doesn't necessarily mean that they're an unwilling participant. For YouTube reasons, I'm not going to use certain terminology that's in here. But here's 10 facts. Part of the issue is they're alleging that Tyler Boyer was essentially functioning at thing and press charges or whatever they need to do legally. So, very interesting. So for YouTube reasons, I'm not going to use certain terminology that's in here. But here's 10 facts about human exploitation. Is any situation that they're an unwilling participant? Because this is a France 24 news report. One hotspot that I've been hearing. This is a France 24 news report, and this was back in, this was 3 years ago. This is basically the start of the war, 2022. And they're talking about this very thing.
Well, another security issue that police are facing here is human trafficking. Posted around the border crossing are leaflets like this, which warn refugees about the traffickers working in their area. Well, it advises refugees not to give away their passports, to be wary of immediate job offers, and only to take official transportation. The refugees crossing over are mainly women and children, and this group is unfortunately vulnerable to targeting by criminals.
You heard what she said there. It's interesting. She said, be wary of like job offers. So these people that are getting, especially the adults that are ending up in this situation, it might initially be offered to them as like, hey, I have this job opportunity, you can make money, come with us, trust us, here's some money up front. Do you need some food and clothes right now? I'll give you that. And then once they get into that situation, then they're stuck. Now with children, that's a whole different situation because they don't really have the mental capacity to judge that kind of stuff in a lot of cases. And they're also very vulnerable. And just a quick side note, this happens everywhere around the world. It happens in all 50 US states as well. So if you think this is like a third world issue, or that like the Ukraine orphan situation that people are alleging is unique, it's not. But let's dig some more into that. We have this Trillion OX or Trillion 0X account, and he's saying heart-shattering testimony by a Romanian woman who knows exactly what Romanian angels, he says angels,
Romanian angels,
did, trafficking 86,000 children from poor families. Don't let censors gaslight you with fact checks. This is the truth about Erika Kirk. Now again.
There you go, Romanian angels. But then he said another business name, but it's Romanian angels. Ministry. I'm trying to see if it's gone now. Because she been quiet. And then all of a sudden when she started talking about them planes, when Candace started talking about them planes, and they wasn't following Charlie, they was following her. Now she popped out, and now she want to talk. ERIKA. And want to set it up how Candace can do and ask the questions. I need to know, what did she do between 2012 after the pageant and 2019? What was she doing?
and this is just his allegation. And if you come down here, you can see almost 1 million views, 5,000 reposts, but let's go ahead and check this out.
Yeah, can you tell us? Thank you.
Yes, I can tell you. First of all, I want to say that Erika was also a victim because she was pushed in a pageant without very, very young, and she just win right away. And then she worked for Trump, and Trump introduced after the Jerusalem.
So now listen to what she said. She's saying that Erika is the victim or a victim. And if you think about it, if you're 16, 17 years old, you're going into these super high pressure, high level pageants, and then
she was 23,
Trump, which I'm not alleging anything about Trump, but the fact that she's in these pageants and behind Trump, that they really push people hard and kind of skip the growth stuff and move right to big business and big money and that kind of thing. And I think it's very interesting too that her net worth at 21, I believe, was like 115 million or something like that. But let's continue forward.
Introduced to Kirk to work for Kirk. She just was a honeypot for Charlie Kirk, and then Trump pushed her to work for Charlie Kirk.
Now, this is just this woman's allegations, but if this is all real, which it seems like this interview and all this stuff might be, she's alleging that Erika Kirk was just a honeypot for Charlie. So that would mean that Charlie was exploiting Erika Kirk as well. Very interesting.
In 2012, Erika was 23 years old, and she is already 500 million on her value.
So she's saying at 23 years old, she was 500 million was her net worth. Now you have to remember too that her parents were also defense contractors. At least that's what I've seen.
That wouldn't be her money, though.
She could have already had a ton of money already. So she could have already been well off before she even started all these other organizations.
With AI,
you can create any character you want in seconds.
This used to require huge Hollywood budgets, complex software, and tons of time.
But right now, all you need is a laptop.
And businesses.
And she has several fashion company and other companies. And then she went in Romania with the military. I have the documentation. I'm trying to send it to you. And she works with the government, the military government, to...
Okay, so she's talking about Erika working with the government. And I remember I've heard several reports that Erika Kirk was maybe like a CIA or FBI or U.S. government asset in different ways, or that she was working with them in some capacity. Very interesting.
With the several very poor city in Romania, where they try to adopt and they did kidnap very young children because they are a lot of family, like they have 7, 8, 9 kids. They were not able to feed the kids, so they offer them some money, and the parents think that, okay, that kid is going to be adopted in another country and it's going to have a great future. So they just lie to them, and the kids, they were taken away from them without proper documentation, proper paperwork, because they work with different prosecutor. And
she is alleging that in this situation that these families in these third world areas or in these war-torn areas, that they have many children.
I'm just trying to get to the other name. I'm just trying to understand why.
They're expensive. So what's happening is she's alleging that these people are going in and they are basically illegally, with improper documentation, promising to take care of the children, and then the children are leaving with them, and who knows what's happening after that. That's kind of her allegation.
The child support, whatever agency they have at that time, and they were paid. So they steal like 86,000 kids from Romania, and they send it to UK, Israel, and I don't know if other countries all over the world. They were very, and nobody knows what those kids, they end up.
She's saying that 86,000 kids so far have been unaccounted for and they don't know where they ended up at. Now again, this is just allegations, but I found this all very interesting. Now this is just kind of a side note because I was doing my research, but there is a adult video called Romanian Angels. I'm sure it's unrelated, but I thought that was very interesting. Now, what really triggered me to start...
There's another business out here. I'm finna get ready to go. It's fascinating to me that when you put in
he had a video with this guest here. I'm going to show you parts of it. But he basically works in war-torn areas, and his whole purpose is to protect people like this that are getting...
Right. It's fascinating to me that when you put in her... Let me see if this... What she was doing before she became Charlie Kirk. When you try to put in her maiden name, it really don't give you anything. What happened? What was she doing between 2012 and 2019, right before she met Charlie Kirk? It's just missing. It's just missing. And she was a millionaire. Okay, yeah, I may be back a little later. I do have some plans. So if you see something, if I'm up, if I go to sleep, it'll be tomorrow. If not, I'll set up another live, and I'm going to try to get off into, because I need to take that that Zionist stuff out. But I may come back if I don't fall asleep. But let me get out of here. I don't want to go over 3 hours. Bye. Hit the like button on your way out if you did not hit it coming in. Have a great one.